Good stuff. So, welcome to 2025, the year of something, the year of change, the year of productivity, the year of SBCs. What's your year going to be? Do tell me below. But what we're going to do is start this year with some change. Now, for this channel, I'm going to be doing quite a few things, actually. I'm going to be changing this channel. I'm going to be changing the shop a bit, and I'm going to be changing the effort that I put in. I'm going to actually plan the videos a little bit more now, instead of just turning up out here at the workshop and recording whatever shit falls into my lap, as you're all familiar with. So we're going to have two or three, I guess, main types of video now. We're going to have showdowns. So today we're going to do a showdown between the Milk5 Duo and the Luckfox Pico. We're then going to have SBC reviews in a new format. I'm going to be doing a tier list, but I'm also going to be assessing them on a criteria. So we're going to do a bit of a better review. We're going to be looking at the performance, cost, availability, stability, documentation, support, all those things, right? And then the third one is going to be the project. So I'm still working on the automated humane animal trap, on the Arduino 4-wheel drive, on those sorts of things. So each of these sets of videos is going to have its own playlist, and I'd love your thoughts and feedback as I go and make each of these videos on how I might be able to improve it. I am going to try to add more chapters in. I'm looking at adding a little, Jay Craft is looking at doing an intro video for me. And hopefully it'll be better for everyone. So before we get any further into it, so to get straight into it, today we have the Milk5 Duo, which is upside down, there we go, and we have the Luckfox Pico. So what we're going to do in this showdown is comparing these two, because I think they're a fairly fair comparison. And we're going to go through their ISAs, their processors, their AI features, their documentation and support, their software. What else we got here? We've got the connectivity options, accessories and compatibility, camera quality, or camera availability and quality, the software options for it. Have a look at whether or not it will Arduino. So I'm not doing it does it Dune, I'm doing does it Arduino, and that will be across both the SBC reviews and these showdowns. The showdowns aren't always going to be like this, by the way. It might be a showdown of the best NAS SBC, the best gaming SBC, things like that. And I'll probably put some stuff on Reddit, especially in r/SBCs, which I'm a mod of now. Go check it out if you want a lot of good discussion support around your SBC adventures. Moving on, we're then going to have a look at any special features that each of these has, the price and availability, and then we'll have a bit of a conclusion. So I'm not going to score them or tier them. I'll be looking at how each of them excels in their own arena, and where we might need to be aware of any caveats. But, you know, they're a pretty common form factor. What you do have, though, Milk5 is all RISC-V, as kind of implied by the name. Luckfox is all rock chip, pretty much, or so far they're all rock chip. So we also have the RISC-V ISA versus the ARM ISA, which is good to be aware of, because if we were to benchmark them, you can't really go like for like. So we're going to be looking at more of their features and their capabilities than their raw performance, because with anything like this, which I call an eSBC, an embedded SBC, performance isn't always a critical factor. There's going to be things like the additional cores, the number of GPIOs, any encoding support, that sort of stuff that we got. And on that note, these are SBCs in my opinion. You have a traditional SBC, like this single board computer. I call that an SBC because it's got a display interface. Now these are still essentially an SBC, a single board computer. They do meet the criteria for me through their UART port, but I'm calling it an eSBC, Embedded SBC, because they're more for embedded Linux purposes. They can run real-time OSs, they might be Yocto or build root based. They might have full distributions, but they typically don't have your traditional output interface. They don't have a HDMI, DisplayPort, VGA, anything like that. You're gonna have to UART, SSH, something like that to them. So this is the showdown of the Luckfox Pico versus the Milk5 Duo eSBCs. Let's have a look. You know what? I already changed my damn mind. We should do a quick sponsorship read, because PCBWay are really, really good people, and they make this channel happen to a degree that I don't think you fully understand. They are actually awesome. So they're constantly doing gifts and giveaways and all sorts. I showed one before, I'm going to show one quickly now, because they're giving away hundreds of dollars worth of coupons. They're giving away PCB prototypes. They're doing 50% off orders, and they're doing unboxing blind boxes. So we still have another 9 days. The last one was for Christmas and whatnot. This is the New Year's 2025 one. And let's have a look at what we've got. So we've got a whole pile of discount codes for different types of orders, including for CNC and 3D printing. If you want to, print something pretty affordable, especially if you want like 5 or 10 of them, these little discounts can go a long way. Next up, you've got some free prototypes. So what do we got here? We got the New Year's tree badge, the New Year, well, these are Christmas, but close enough. Please add these and other special requests on the instant quote if it's a New Year themed design, and the coupon's only valid for 30 days. We've then got some basic discounts, which is pretty awesome. $5 for 10 pieces. Now, if you use my link below, you also get $5 off your first order. So instead of paying $27.87, you can pay $0 and get 10 PCBs up to 100 by 100 mil, 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter, 2-layer, and their quality is awesome, as you've seen many times. Up to 50% off 3D printing and CNC machining. And then we've got the blind boxes. Now, I've already won mine. I won these two things. I won a soldering iron and a communications module. So what you can do is you can come in here and you can click on the box and you can win a free prize if you haven't yet. They also have some cool little challenge questions where you can win prizes if you get them wrong. I just clicked anything to see what happened and instantly lost because I don't like thinking too hard. But check out PCBWay using my link below to support me if you can. Sign up for an account. You don't have to buy anything, but you can, and they've got heaps of stuff you might like, even just this module store. Alrighty, so now we've taken these out of their packet. Let's have a bit of a closer look at them. It's a little bit salt and pepper, isn't it? Well, let's not destroy them. What we've got on the left here is the Milk5 Duo, and on the right is the Luckfox Pico. Now, you can see they have the same number of GPIOs. They are the same form factor. They have the same USB Type-C interface, but they're a little bit different. Now, if we look at the Milk5 Duo first, this has got the CV108B SoC. It's got a little smiley face where there's a microphone connector. You've got the camera connector, SoC, TF/microSD, and a spot where you might find a SPI flash module, along with the Ethernet connection options at the back at the end. On the back, we have some test pads there, a little bit of labeling in your GPIO numbers. So pretty nice, pretty straightforward. Ooh, that's a bit close, isn't it? So I'm quite a fan of this design, and I think they've done a very good job. Now, if we have a look at the Luckfox Pico, again, very, very similar, but some minor differences. So we've got the LED there, which I negated to mention before, same Type-C plug. We have a boot button though, which is quite excellent to put it into flashing mode. We have a spot for SPI flash. We have the TF card going over it as well. Now, this TF card, at least, you can see that's all the micro SD slot is risen. This one is not, which means you can't really have both storage modules there. You theoretically can here. You've got your SoC, which is the RV1103. You've got your camera connector. You've got your Ethernet connection at the back, and you've got your normal test points at the end, and you've got your normal test points on the back, along with your labels. And the labels are a little bit easier to read, in my opinion, here. So, very, very similar form factor. They're about 51 by 22 millimeters, and they're very capable. Now, I do like that boot button because you have to short pins on this one to do the same thing, which is how you usually end up with this. That's how I use my Milk5 Duos, which is, I think, fairly understandable and common. You've got your UART, your reset, and your Ethernet there. The Luckfox I pretty much use as is. What you might also notice is that there are some color variations here. So the Milk5 Duos do come in a few different colors. The Luckfox, I've only ever seen black, and I do like that black. Black and gold looks excellent in my opinion. I don't have, this one hasn't got gold on it, but I do give away rulers with every order from my shop as well. And the Luckfox ones I'm giving away with every Luckfox order are black and gold. If you order Milk5 stuff from my shop, you get a sticker and a standard ruler that is just either white or black like this one. They're quite handy. I use them for all sorts, and as you can see, they're slowly getting absolutely massacred. Now, moving on, let's start having a look at these SoCs, system on a chip. So SoC means you got pretty much everything in that one little package, and you can see with these block diagrams here, there's some similarities, but some big differences. So first up, you got the CV1108B. You see, it's got 64 meg of RAM. It's got two C906 cores in there with a bit of cache. You've got your video subsystem, which is your image processor and your video processor. You've got your ARM bus here, which is very common. It's not quite demonstrated over for the RV1103. And then you've got different high speed, low speed, audio, and similar. Now, looking at this straight away, you see 906 plus 906. Now, they are a little bit different. You have a C906 core that can run Linux, and you have a C906 core, which is a lower speed with less instructions and can't run Linux. That's your real-time operating system core. Your ISP and your VPU are all pretty much what you'd expect. These can encode and decode, I believe, 1080 at about 30 FPS. And then you've got your standard interfaces down here. You've got your memory types, your USB interface. So the Type-C is, of course, can do gadget mode and does RNDIS by default, from what I recall. SDIO. You've got your codec subsystem. So this is your encoders, which is related to audio. Memory, bit of security, a whole pile of peripherals, which WeGAND. What the hell's WeGAND? Haven't seen that before. But then you've got this too. So you've got a 8051, which is really interesting. The RV1103 is very similar. It's illustrated a little bit differently, but you've got a Cortex A7 single core with what's not shown here, I don't think. Well, it says 16-bit DDR2. You've got 64 meg of 16-bit DDR2 there. So you've got a similar core, similar RAM. This has your same pretty much system peripherals. It does have embedded memory as well, and it's got your encoders, your VPU, your MPU as well, and all your connectivity. Now, they both have that 10100 megabit Ethernet interface. They both have USB on the go 2.0. And they both have some video interface as well. So there's MIPI, CSI, and LVDS over those GPIOs, which I believe you can also do with this. So now we're going to get onto the documentation, and I think this is really, really important, especially because these things are really fun to play with, and if you want to cut your teeth on something like this, good documentation is going to help a lot. This Milk 5 documentation is continually being built out, and there is more added all the time, which I really like. You can see they have notes about the revisions here. Not even all of it's mentioned, but you can typically go down and have a look at their GitHub for that code. Now, if we look at the Duo here that we're looking at, specifically this one with CV1108, it's got an overview of what it's about, what it uses, how you can use it, links to the data sheet, how to buy them, and then they start getting straight in to actually using it. So you're going to need to flash an SD card, and you're going to need to power it on. The blue LED will blink when it's booted the OS. If it's not blinking, it hasn't booted the OS. We then have a few things here. So how to connect it using the RNDIS and what drivers to install, which is good to know. And what you might want to do with extending the root partition. You've then got their SDK, so it's all build root based. With some of their bigger SBCs or eSBCs, you do have an Ubuntu based one as well. That is all, you can get the SDK there, you can also get the images from there. They then go into the RTOS core and what you can do with it. So there, you can change the amount of memory that the different cores have, and they have examples of how the IP mailbox works. So you can pass commands between the two cores with their example code, which is excellent English and very well documented. You then have the 8051 core. Now, I love 8051s. Go read about them. They are very, very cool, and they've been around for decades. It does do some things by default in this, so just be aware that if you flash it, you might brick it to a degree, but you can almost always recover from it. So I haven't played with these yet, but they've got some really good examples. So they explain here about the memory allocations, which we're talking about. A lot of it is reserved for the camera specifically. So you can see in here, you've got how much is allocated to the 8051. You've got to be aware of how much is going to be allocated to your RTOS core. And then in here, you can't see, there is a certain amount reserved for that camera. Again, they have some great code. They have some key tips that are outlined. They explained everything very, very well, and they've got examples of everything. We'll get onto this a bit later. The documentation also goes on to your pin control, which can be via pin marks, wiring X, or pin pong, which is quite excellent. Multimedia doesn't have much in it. They get on to your object detection. So they have example code for that. They have links to different models, and they step through pretty much building your own module, your own model, and how to upload it. Some of it, when you get into the GitHub, might be in Chinese, but you can always right click and go translate to English if you've got that detection there. When you get into the low level stuff, you've got about connecting screens to them, depending on what model you have and how you might connect it. You also have a lot of third-party stuff that we'll get into, and interestingly, they're upstreaming so much of this into the Linux kernel, and that is really, it's blowing a gale out there. That's really important to me. There is equally documentation for their I/O board, which we'll get into, their camera, and other accessories that might work with it, which I hadn't even seen that. That is quite excellent. Now, We go over on to Luckfox. It's just as good. I mean, really, they've got to be racing each other. They must have some people documenting stuff there. It's a race to the end, and that benefits everyone. So you can see they've got an overview of the models and all the specs here. Very similar. So what you're going to need and how to get into it. Again, installing drivers, that's just part of the parcel these days. How you're going to either flash the onboard SPI or the SD card. You're going to be using slightly different tools for this, and they've got information about doing it under Linux and Mac. Now, if we have a look back here, they have Linux and Mac for the Ethernet interface here, but as far as burning the image, they only talk about using Balena Etcher. So you'll need to do a little bit of reading or watch my previous videos where I've covered some of this. So I like this additional documentation. They've got the same sort of thing as RNDIS based. They go in the same sort of serial interface, which both have ADB, which is something that's unique to or not unique to Rock chips, but you're not going to see that with the Milk 5. So ADB is the Android debugging protocol, I believe, and you've got a few options there of how to communicate with it as well, which means you don't have to use just RNDIS, which is going the way of Old Yeller. You've then got how to share the internet interface from your computer. Only Windows is demonstrated there. Yeah, that's Windows, and then they've got what to configure there. They don't have anything for Linux, but if you're using Linux, you should know what to do. And that is for both the build root and the Ubuntu images, depending on what you're using. They have their own SDK, which is based on the Rock chip SDK. They have a lot of documentation here. So whilst this SDK for build root is good, like how to get it, how to compile it, other considerations, how to add packages, this is next level, right? So how to get it for your different environments, how to set up Docker, but then you've got all of your kernel configuration and what you might want to change, which is really, really good. If you're not used to kernel configurations, this is going to step you through a lot, even setting up temperature and humidity sensors. You've then got your peripherals and your interfaces, which we'll get into. You've got your compatible devices, which is quite extensive because Luckfox is like a partner company of Waveshare. So you've got these Waveshare devices, which are all compatible, and we'll have a look at shortly. Then have your basic changes that you might want to make to your environment on there. And then your TPU or NPU integration. Now, where they've got the advantage here is this uses RKNN Toolkit or the Rock chip Model Zoo. So in my opinion, you have a lot more interfaces or a lot more options here. They have similar information on both the detection and recognition using different models. But if you look up the Rock chip Model Zoo, you'll see there is a lot here, and they've got two versions. They link between them, but they've got versions for pretty much everything. We know we've got the 1103, so we can look at what's compatible and even how they perform, which is quite excellent. LVGL, if you want to set up some displays, which different ones support, and they explain very thoroughly how to connect them or even what breakout board you might want to use there. I think got some FAQs, you got some community ports, and your images at the end. So the documentation and even the looks of the software is pretty good. What we want to move on to next though is the connectivity options. So as we've talked about, let's have a look here. You've got your USB Type-C interface, which is going to expose RNDIS on both or ADB on this as well. You've got all your GPIOs, including UART, and you have your Ethernet interface. They are pretty much the same on both of these, so I don't think there's really much to compare about connectivity. It's both USB 2.0 on the go, so you can connect multiple things to them. They both have UART, they both have RNDIS, they both have Ethernet, they both have the GPIOs. Now, there is one other little consideration. If we have a look back here, and we actually have a look at their UART connections, they illustrate it very, very well. Let's go back to, where are they? Here, 115200. That is very, very good. It makes it nice and easy because that's the default baud rate on many things. If we go to the Milk 5 and we have a look at, where are we starting up? Was it in here? Nope. UART serial console. Got to connect to it that way. 115200 as well. 8.1. Now, this is a little bit unstandard. Normally there is parity and flow control, or at least flow control. This one, query communication processor, where is there? Doesn't actually say it. So there is flow control, there is a stop bit there, but there is no parity. And they show you in quite a few different ways actually how to connect, which is pretty neat in my opinion, including using Windows tools. They're not using PuTTY there. They're using MOBA Xterm. I prefer PuTTY, personal preference, how to connect from the command line. And then even how to connect to it in C. You can copy and paste and compile it and it just works. At the very end here, they've also got information on modifying the device tree, which I think is excellent. I've cut my own builds of this quite a bit. So far, we've looked at, if I hit the right button, RISC-V versus ARM to a degree, and why we're not going to benchmark them. The size/form factor GPIOs, the release date roughly. The intention is for educational demonstration and hobbyist purpose above all else, but they're a very good embedded device. We've had a look at their processors, their memory, their NPU, the models that are available, how good the documentation is. Documentation leads a little bit into support, but I'm not going to touch too much on that because what you can do is you can go to their GitHub repos, and if we have a look over here, you can knock out some issues. Go and have a look if you can't get something working, and then if you can't find anything else about it, raise an issue here, and you'll see if we look at is closed, they answer them and close them and fix stuff, which is pretty awesome. There's quite a few engineers, usually Carbon Fix will jump in, that communicate very, very well. Similarly, if we go Luckfox, Luckfox GitHub, there's much the same. There's a couple of their engineers, 33, I think, because I don't, they've got different naming schemes. They will jump in and they'll help you out, which is really nice. I'm not sure if this will have, oh yeah, Eng33, there we go. They communicate clearly. They're always happy to help out, and you can see their responses are very prompt. So I think support as far as that low level is very good. They also have forums. So the Luckfox forum is here and the Milk5 forum is here. They're both very active, and I'd say this is probably going to be one of your first steps. If you're struggling at all, go and have a look at the forums. If it's low level, of course, about the image or the SDK, go there. But if we jump over to Duo there, and the Pico here, 881 topics. And you can see you got a lot of different people. There's our old Eng33 contributing and asking questions and helping each other out with piles of replies, which is really what you want to see. Duo's no different. You've got quite a few people in here that are going to be helping out. So if we go in, Tiny DRM, I don't even know what this is, but it looks pretty cool. Someone's asked a whole pile of questions that I don't understand. And then you've got a whole pile of people helping them out, including some people from Luckfox and the rest of the community. So I'd say their documentation is excellent, their support is excellent, and their repositories are excellent. This is why I sell these two products, and this is why I use them in so many things myself. If I go and have a look here, I was working on some projects, and I ended up trying quite a few different types of things. So I got an ESP, a smaller ESP, and a Luckfox, and this is the Pico Mini even. Duo don't make a mini version. It's, they might release one day. You can make one as well, but it's a little bit outside of the scope of what we're doing here. And this video is already getting longer. It's my first showdown. It's going for fucking ever. Pardon my language, but you'll deal with it. So we're gonna have to start moving on very quickly. Now, accessories out of the box, cameras. They make cameras. So I am not going to test them and compare them for a number of reasons, but the key one is that my Milk5 camera that I've got here kills Milk5s. The reason is I put too many volts into it one day. And so I sold my last one in the shop, and so now I've only got a dead one. You can see here they come in different packages though, and this is quite interesting because this actually costs more to ship, and I've noted that to them. Oh yeah, I've also lost the ribbon cable for this one, or melted it, or who knows what. They are very similar form factor, but the PCBs, jump in a little bit closer, are a different size, of course. So, very similar camera, very similar specs, and we will have a look at the specs in a moment. But yeah, there are some disadvantages to packaging and shipping them due to those inherent sizes, and there's normally some foam in that one with it as well, which I've simply lost or thrown out. Both the cameras, though, are quite impressive, so let's go put them side by side. Hang on. Something look interesting there to you? So, we have the SC336 versus the GC2083. So this is a 2 megapixel sensor for the Milk5, and we have a 3 megapixel sensor for the Luckfox Pico. Shows you how to connect it, which is really good because the orientation of the cable can matter. And then they talk about what happens when you boot up and what they do. So if we have a look, that's a full HD, up to 10-bit. This is interesting, I'll get into that in a second. And it'll do 30 FPS at 1080. We go down, let's see if it has the specs in here. Can actually see the specs. There is a lot more technical documentation here though, as you can see. So let's just quickly look up it's probably under its own accessories section, isn't it? Okay, the WaveShare page, that's fair enough. WaveShare makes some sick stuff, by the way. I actually stock a fair bit of it. So, 3 megapixel, little bit bigger, same FPS, they're both rolling shutter. What aperture have we got here? Is it gonna show us? Nope. Both manual focus, minimal distortion. We've got a 98-degree field of view there, doesn't say. And they've got much the same information there about setting it up. So they are very similar cameras. I do have a bit of a whinge about both of them though. So, first of all, the Luckfox Pico camera is using a standard interface to a degree, but the pins are in a very different order, which means with a Luckfox Pico, you can only use a Luckfox camera. Similarly, with a Milk 5 Duo, you can only use a Milk 5 camera. Now the pins are not only in a different order, but they're at a different voltage, which is how I ended up with this. I've got a couple of, I don't even know which of these work anymore, because I've actually killed quite a few Duos trying to make an adapter board before I even realized they were a different bloody voltage. So I'm about to order my next version of it. If you have a look here, I made this ribbon as an interface between them, which is correct. And then I made this, this adapter board to go, I'm not going to bother getting it out because I'm lazy, to go between the two interfaces. But it had some failings, namely, I forgot to put the wires in that one. So I'm going to order the next version of that and hopefully it'll work. And then the Luckfox adapter should be nice and easy. Now, I am keeping track of this too. So if you want to, github.com, Platima, SBC cameras. If you want to have a look at what I've documented about this, I've made a few notes, let's put that away, in here, about what the connectors are and different cameras and their specs, because I use a lot of these. Specifically though, so you can see that's unique and that's not quite, oh no, that's the wrong one. I don't have the Luckfox one on there. So it's a 20 pin there. Where is it? That's it there. So you have to use their camera with their SBC. Both should be able to be converted though. And I might have, no, all right, I had a, sorry. All right, I'll insert a picture here if it's not immediately available. No, so I did a little PDF comparing their pinouts. I've told both parties I'd really love if they could just use a stock standard connector to allow people to use like the Radshare cameras, the Raspberry Pi cameras, the Arduino cameras, but it hasn't happened yet. And it does mean you're limited, and it does mean sometimes it has to be shipped in a bigger package. But both the cameras are good quality and do what you need them to do. They both are, the drivers make use of the ISPs, which is going to be one of the big things. Like if they allow any camera to connect, people are going to bitch and whinge that it doesn't work because you might not have the hardware overlay. The ISP might not be capable of processing it, things like that. So this at least ensures that it's functioning, but it does bother me. Let the people that really want to go tech, go tech. That being said, on their bigger boards, both of them do. So the Pico, the Luckfox Pico Ultra and the Duo S have 15P1 connectors and support the standard cameras, just not on these little ones. I can see both sides of it, I really can. Now, on that note, we're just talking about software, and software is really important. So if we jump back over, let's actually have a look at their releases and what they're keeping up with. We'll go to Luckfox, and we'll close that little flashing thing, and we'll go to Milk 5 Duo. We jump into Luckfox Pico. Oh, they don't release it there, so that means we're going to have to go back to the documentation. Luckfox, getting started. Let's grab their links. Meanwhile, over here, we know Look at that, they've started a new SDK. That's very interesting. Let's have a quick squiz at that. So, we've got some releases there. That was just updated 2 months ago, which is quite nice. Before that, if we rip that tag out of the URL, we have September, August, May. All right, these are rapid releases, adding features each time. And they release them for the boards and with or without Arduino support. We'll get into that later. Version 2, all right, so they have released V2.0. So that was released last month. And then there was one in October, which was the initial compile. Do they say what's different? No, they don't even say what's different, but you can build it yourself. Over here, let's have a look at how we're going to get ourselves those images. Firmware. It's on Google Drive. Good to know. Honestly, Luckfox, I'd prefer GitHub because Google Drive can be a little bit slow sometimes, especially if you don't have an account. They have put the Alpine Linux image up. You see, that's a little bit old. So let's jump into build root. And here we go. So you can see these images were all updated, but I can't see any release notes here. Just Google it, Luckfox Pico release notes. Do they have anything? So they've got releases there, but I don't recall seeing anything in it. No, there's nothing there. It's a little bit of a letdown, Luckfox. It is what it is though. So that shows a little bit of a difference between them. What that does lead us very nicely into though, is Arduino support. People love Arduino because it's just easy. Especially using the Arduino IDE. If you're unfamiliar with programming, it can make quite a difference. So let's see if there's anything, nothing, no Arduino. All right, let's try Googling it. Luckfox Pico Arduino. And we'll also search RV1103 Arduino. Let's force it to include that word. Nothing Arduino related. Doesn't look like that's gonna happen. Electronics Lab though, let's have a quick look at that. And again, even just for that 1103, I can't see anything happening there. No, let's wait for that to load. If we go back here though, and we have a look at these releases. So Duo, GeoS, Duo 256, both eMMC and SD, there's Arduino releases, and there's standard releases. There is some notes here. So the GeoS now supports Arduino. The 256 and S doesn't yet support ping pong, and the Arduino doesn't yet support the camera. I mean, if you're using Arduino, it's very rare that you're using cameras in my opinion anyway, but otherwise, most of it works. And so if we look at the documentation and go back to the getting started guide, there is a whole section about Arduino. So you got to add the board to it. They recommend using version 2 of the IDE, even though I don't like it. Testing the blink to make sure it's all working. So what you're doing here, by the way, which is really worth knowing, is you're flashing that small RTOS core with Arduino. And they explain that a little bit here. So the Arduino runs on the little core, which is cool. They also link to Visuino, which is neat. So disable blinking in the main OS, and then you can blink it yourself using your Arduino code. And it's a little bit old, but you can see it picks up the board, you flash it, and you've got access to all those GPIOs through the standard mailbox, which their library handles. They then give you a bucket load more examples. Like, I mean, seriously, even showing how to wire it up on a breadboard. If you want a breadboard, if you want a milk five, if you want some wiring stuff, don't forget I've got all of this. In fact, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying this video. I'm sorry it's going for 100 years, but you can always jump over to my shop and we'll have a look at a few quick things here, because besides PCBWay being awesome sports and supporting this, I apparently have a Slowers Balls shop too. So Duo 64 right there from $8 Australian. And then if we have a look at components and boards, I think that's where I put them. You've got mini breadboards and we've got standard size breadboards. So that's your standard breadboard, which has 400 tie-in points. These mini breadboards though are available in a few colors and snap together. So I use these, as you just saw before, for a lot of little prototyping. And you can get this with or without headers. So I've got quite a few left with the headers and just a few left without. All the specs are there, along with the camera modules, which I think I'm out of. No, apparently I still have some camera modules left too. Oh, that's a pre-order. That would be why. I've run out of stock, but you can pre-order it. There is stock on the way, and you'll get it as soon as it arrives. Back here, look at that. That's excellent. So installing Arduino, how to access everything, and then same sort of thing, how to blink the onboard, using the mailboxes in a little bit more detail, how to flash it, and it's quite excellent. It's a shame Luckfox doesn't support Arduino, but it's part of their use case. I guess this could be considered a special feature. Now, as far as special features go, they are both special in their own right as far as I'm concerned. So they're both very small, they're both very affordable, they're both very powerful. I would say the special features in the Milk 5 Duo is that it supports Arduino and it has the extra cores. So you've got the RTOS core and you've got the 8051 core. As far as the Luckfox go, I'd say the special features are that the SC3336, I believe, has better night vision. And was I not wrong in thinking, let me just have a quick look here, that it has a better camera. Yeah, so this has got the 3 megapixel camera, and this technically has ARM and RISC-V. Sorry, that's completely out of focus. So this has a slightly better camera. The boot button, the TF card is raised. It's got the RISC-V MCU with an ARM core. So definitely some good advantages there. This has extra cores if you want to program the 8051 or the RTOS core. It supports Arduino and slightly lower quality camera, and you don't have the boot button, but it does have a microphone port, which is a little bit different. Now, both of them do have some connectivity options. If I grab this here, what you have is your stock standard Ethernet module. Let's fix that zoom up for you. These are the ones that you can buy online for like 20 bucks each in most places, and I think they're butt ugly. So the advantage is they have magnetics built into that Ethernet interface. Do I have one in here? It'll be here. Holy hell, do I not even have one here? Okay, so I got the boards from. I made my own, and I think they look a lot prettier. This is the board because I keep one of everything I make. These are available in my store. I made them prettier and nicer and cheaper. They work a treat, 10100. They don't have magnetics though. It's good to be aware if that's important to you. No magnetics in this, but for these embedded modules, I think that's the last of your concern. I just really wanted to keep that cost down. So you've got Ethernet connectivity. You don't have Bluetooth, you don't have Wi-Fi, but you can theoretically add it on with like an ESP01 module, or there are some other options as well, such as like one of your SPI, so your W5100s or their ENC-J, that's an Ethernet module. W5100 is an Ethernet module. Got something here, I got so much crap. It's all available in the shop as well anyway, so you can technically add SPI, UART, Ethernet and Wi-Fi on top of it. But if you simply connect that to that, or even, can you poke it through and solder it on? No, you just need to connect that to that. Ethernet's going to work out the box, which is a lovely treat. There's no PoE support, and those LEDs don't actually do anything. But if you don't want to use RNDIS, that's the way to go. On to compatibility. Now, we have a section here called compatible devices. This is where I think Luckfox pulls ahead a little bit, especially with their partnership with Waveshare. They're not alone there, we'll get onto that. But you can see they support a whole pile of LCD, e-paper, touch interfaces, even just humidity sensors, and they have links to all of that. They then have instructions on using SPI or I2C and how to configure it to work with that interface. They then have LVGL interfaces, which is quite excellent, including the breakout board if you want to use that. Otherwise, you can just use a normal breadboard, and a lot of really good code, including modifying the device tree to suit what you're doing. Now, if you go and have a look as well at one of these products on Waveshare, I can't believe I don't stock these, they're so common. Waveshare always have a link to their wiki at the bottom of each product, and this is going to have more specifics on exact details and then how to use it. And you can see here they're using a Pico as the example. So if you want to know how to use any of these accessories, they're widely supported accessories, all of that is available here. There is also this community sharing, which is, I forgot to mention before, part of the additional software. So there's Alpine Linux available, which they host a copy of. And you can see there's an article to this Chinese thread where the guy ported it. I've then made my own ports as well, following his, which is available on I haven't kept it up to date, so don't hate me, but I've got this SBC images. So I've cut some of my own builds there for that. If we go Luckfox Pico, you can see here I've got Ubuntu, Alpine, and Ubuntu for the different models here. If we go and have a look at Milk 5 and we have a look at their options, we've got support for a MIPI DSI screen on certain models here. And what else have we got? GPIO control, getting started, I/O boards. All right, so you do, I mean, that's something. You've got the PoE hat for the Duo S, but you have an I/O board. Luckfox for their Pico does not have an I/O board, but if I go, how the hell have I lost it so quickly? Nope, that's the Milk 5 Mars. Over here. So in amongst all my Milk 5 stuff and all those tiny little covers, you do have the I/O board, which is a breakout board available for the Pico range. This gives you Ethernet, USB interfaces, debug headers, and your USB-C connection, along with what you can see on here, some other stuff. So this is something that is quite unique to the Milk 5 Pico, and I think quite excellent. But that's about all it has. It's got the camera, which is the wrong voltage and using a proprietary connector and only 2 megapixels, but it does have the I/O board. The only other really big thing, oh yeah, they've got some accessories. Sorry, I completely missed that. They do have examples. I was using some accessories, especially the same accessories that you can get from Waveshare, which is very handy, but it's not as comprehensive. Now, that's because Milk 5's partner company is technically Radshell. They were formed by the same team and by Tom Cuby, and then Milk 5 is all RISC-V and Radshell's all Rockchip, and we'll get into some Radshell stuff in another video. What you do have though is a lot more third-party images. So you've got all these people, especially, where's he gone? Fish Waldo, Justin, has made a really good Debian port, and that should even be, XYZ DIMS as well. He made Alpine port, which is quite excellent. sRGB did the Debian port for that. This is really good. So you have a lot more firmware options available for the Milk 5, and you have the I/O board available for it. So it's kind of hard to compare the accessories there. You've got this one, which has got the better camera and supports a lot more accessories through Waveshare, along with having your boot button and the raised TF card slot. You've then got this one, which doesn't have those things, but has more images available and has the I/O board available. Really hard to compare, but it means they're both excelling in their own right. And then even this has more variations. You've got the Pico, Pico Plus, Pico Pro, Pico Max, Pico Ultra. This one, you've got the Duo, Duo 256, and Duo S, but then you've got Arduino support. You can't pick a winner, really. They've got their own special features. They've got their own options. They've got their own everything, but they are excellent. So let's quickly have a look at the price. So here we go, looking at the Luckfox Pico. That's on back order. More are coming in. $10.95 for the Luckfox Pico, $8 for the Duo. As far as availability goes, I do keep both of them in stock, and they are also available through other third parties. So I ship them from Australia. The other two shipping options are from China. I think that's pretty much all you've got now. I don't know of anyone else supporting it. So we really have to look at how each excels in this showdown. And that is really ridiculously hard. They're both very affordable either way. That's less than $10 US each. They support SD card, they support Ethernet, they support RNDIS, they support a camera. They've got great documentation, they've got great support, they've got multiple images available. This one, Milk 5, you have Arduino support, you have more images available. Luckfox Pico, you have more accessories available, and you've got a better camera. They both have their own bespoke cameras. They both have a really big, rich user community. This gained a fair bit of popularity through some jailbreaking, from what I understand. I won't get into specifics because, of course, there's legalities around this. This gained popularity, fuck knows how, but these are wild and rampant. I think they're both quite excellent. I haven't tested putting my own SPI flash on them. They're both very, very well manufactured. If we have a close-up look here and put them side by side, let's see if we can get that thumbnail shot. These are both beautifully manufactured boards in their own right with a diverse amount of connectivity options and capabilities. This one technically is ARM plus RISC-V. This one is RISC-V plus 8051. They both have a 0.5 TOPS NPU, but this probably says where this one has the IO board. This one has the RKNN or the Rockchip Model Zoo available. There is no clear winner. What I'll do though, if you want to know about either of these in a bit more detail, I have made videos on each of them and I'm probably going to have to do a part 2 video. So I've done like the base video and then the Arduino video for this one, which are pretty basic. I've done videos on the other variant, same as this. I've done, I think this one, the Max and the Mini B. I've done videos on those, so they'll all be linked to below, or the smart YouTube algorithm might put them up there somewhere. But I'd love to know, what do you think? You know, what do you think of these two? Do you have a preference? Is there something that you want to see from these vendors in their SBCs? Was this even a fair comparison? Now, don't forget that I do have that shop where you can buy these yourself over here. There is also a really, really good community, and I link to it in pretty much, or I'll link to mine. You've got Reddit r/Platima. I don't know why I ever picked that either. I mean, you've got to change that one day. But you've got Reddit/r/SBCs. Now, I'm a mod in here now as well, and we're going to try to make it a little bit more active. Oh, look at that. My video is right at the top. This is a great community of people. It's not too new, but it is fairly small, and we're just starting to grow it now. So there's heaps of stuff about pretty much every SBC that you can imagine in here, and everyone's always happy to help out. In here, I just pretty much post the videos that I'm making, but it does also include some cooking content occasionally as well, and discussions around it. I don't know. Yeah, so these things come up as well. There's, 43 members, so I'd love if you want to join it and help grow it, but that's completely up to you. My final thoughts are, they're both excellent. I use them both in their own rights for many things. I use the Milk 5 a lot more for prototyping. I use the Luckfox range a lot more for camera and audio stuff. Overall, there is no winner, but I would like to thank both of these vendors for making excellent products. I would like to thank PCBWay for supporting this channel and allowing me to continue making these. And I thank you guys for coming by and supporting me into 2025 now. So this is the first of SBC Showdowns, or eSBC Showdowns in this case, of the Picos, the Tinies, the what I call gum stick form factor or stick form factor. Can't wait to hear back from you all. Enjoy the rest of your summer or winter wherever you are. I'll catch you next week. Take it easy.